Hello there, and welcome back to a very special episode of Sohaima Reads Reddit Stories. As I'm posting this, it is 4/20/2025, so might as well read some Reddit stories that have to do with marijuana, that have to do with weed. I'm not endorsing anything, I'm not looking down on anything. These are just stories that I found on Reddit, and I tried my best not to read them. Some of them are kind of crazy. One of them is actually marked not safe for work, so these might get a little crazy. And I found 12 posts for us to read, and I've made, oh my god, is this real? I don't know why it says 188 pages, but that can't be real. I have it in kind of big font, so it's 88 pages of content I'm gonna go through with you today. I can't be more excited. So let's get into the first story. This is from the subreddit, Today I Effed Up. So it's TIFU. Today I effed up by stuffing my face with edibles before dinner with my wife's parents. Recently, I traveled to Denver, Colorado with my wife and my wife's parents. As a resident of a non-legalized state and as someone who is too much of a pussy to regularly buy illegal drugs, the thing I was looking forward to most was the chance to buy fancy legal weed. What could possibly go wrong? So, the first thing I do upon arriving and after successfully ditching the in laws is drag my wife to a nearby dispensary for a shopping spree. And oh my god, it was just like in my dreams. Tons of different options, and neat little sample jars, and a team of helpful stoners walking me through the various strains. Are you looking for a mellow body high, or do you want something that gives you a bit more pep and energy? Or are you just hoping for something light to take off the stress? So these are like in quotes, I'm guessing like the what do they call it? The people in dispensaries who serve? Oh, bud tenders. So I guess this is what the bud tender was asking. Yes, 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 I reply eagerly, like a fat kid in a candy store, and request an eighth ounce of about 7 different options. In hindsight, if I learned anything from this experience, it is that my math and science teachers never taught me basic information like what is an ounce or how much weed can a person consume in a single weekend. Sure, I can tell you when two speeding trains leaving separate stations will collide or recite Avogadro's number, but turns out that none of that information is particularly relevant to getting high in a responsible and efficient manner. And it was at this dispensary that I also learned that you can't actually smoke in public places, including the hotel that my wife and I were staying at. As a result, before leaving, I begged my wife to buy some edibles that I could munch on until we found a place to properly get lit. After expressing shock as to the absurd volume of drugs that we were buying, unlike me, she is the product of private school and understands the imperial measurement system. She relents, and we walk out of the store with what felt like a dump truck of weed plus a small package of seemingly innocuous ginger snap cookies. When we finally get back to the hotel room, I tear those bad boys open, only to find out about a dozen tiny cookies roughly the size of a quarter. What the fuck? Denver? Seeing the skepticism and hunger in my eyes, my wife warns me that I should go easy and look at the back of the package first before trying one. Dose size, half a cookie. I read silently as I start taking micro bites from the edges, like a giant chinchilla gnawing on a sunflower seed. But what kind of savage only eats half a cookie? So a second later, I covertly pop the remainder into my mouth. And then I quickly stuff another 2 cookies in my mouth for good measure the moment my wife turns her back. We may not have legal weed back home, but I routinely devour an entire package of Milanos in one sitting without breaking a sweat. Your move, tiny ginger snaps. About 30 minutes later, we are back in the back seat of our parents' rental car on the way to dinner. And that's when things start to go tits up. My stomach growls loudly and angrily. My wife looks at me with inquisitive eyes that seem to say, diarrhea? But I merely clutch my tummy and mumble something about altitude sickness. You didn't eat a whole cookie, did you? She asks, 10% in genuine concern and 90% in seething irration. In seething irration, okay. Of course not, I respond, avoiding eye contact for the remainder of the car ride. A few minutes later, we're climbing out of her parents' rental car and heading into some trendy farm-to-table restaurant. I don't remember how I made it to my seat, and I don't remember even looking at the menu, but I do remember the concerned look on the waiter's face as he asked me if I was doing all right. Keep it together, man, I say to myself, but my wife's sudden groan suggests that I may have also said that to the waiter. Things are going downhill fast. The waiter nods sympathetically, takes our orders, and then heads to the next table. The moment he walks away, my wife is staring daggers at me. I start to worry that the jig is up. You are sweating from your entire face, she says, with both pity and disgust, not quite knowing what to do. I reach for my napkin and proceed to blot my cheeks, nose, neck, chin, and forehead. At this point, my wife's mom looks over at me with some concern. Are you alright? She asks kindly. Yeah, the food's just a bit spicy, I reply, far too quick to realize that we had literally just ordered and that there's nothing on the table except for a basket of dinner rolls. My wife kicks me under the table to grab my attention. Bathroom. Now, she hisses, get it together. I reluctantly get up from the table and head for the toilet. After splashing several handfuls of water on my face, I approach a urinal and start to pee. Now, one of the more disconcerting effects of those tiny ginger snap monsters is the feeling that time has become untethered from reality. As I am peeing, I start to get the very unsettling feeling that I have been taking a piss for the better part of an hour and that my wife must be pacing around the restaurant worried about me. But deep down, I know that is absurd. I've been peeing all my life, sometimes multiple times a day. I've probably taken more than 50,000 leaks, and it usually only takes about a minute at most. So given that my typical pee is no more than 60 seconds, and given that it feels like I'm about halfway done, that means that I've probably only been standing here for about 30 seconds, right? But the guy at the urinal next to me doesn't respond and instead it starts shuffling away from me midstream, like a startled penguin. I try, albeit unsuccessfully, to break eye contact. After finally finishing, I again splash some water on my face and return to my seat, making sure to apologize to the table for being gone for being gone such a long time, just in case my math was off. Next, I try briefly to engage in small talk with my wife's father, but I'm far too high to understand what either of us are saying. Not wanting to start laughing uncontrollably at the wrong moment, or really at any moment, I figure the safest idea is to nod my head periodically and drink a ton of water. Nothing cures mental fatigue like water, right? To my wife's horror, I stand up, grab my water glass, and thrust it out to the waiter who unfortunately is on the opposite side of the restaurant. Wait, what? But he turns out to be really cool, and after making his way over to our table, tells me that he'll do his best to keep me stocked with ice water for the rest of the meal. He's what? He also helpfully suggests that if the dinner rolls aren't too spicy for me, I should probably eat one or two so that I'm not sitting there on an empty stomach. Smart man. Okay, he definitely knew that this guy is not sober. However, after going through all of the bread on the table and 3 glasses of water, I start to get worried that I need actual food to offset the growing paranoia from those tiny ginger snap devils. Do you think I should flag down the waiter again and ask what's taking so long? I suggest helpfully to my wife. What? We literally just ordered 3 fucking minutes ago. And at my exchange, my wife loses her cool. How many cookies did you eat? She demands. Whoa, easy there. What does this say? Whoa, easy there, twerk, twerkamata. I don't know what that is, sorry. Whoa, easy there, Torquemada, I respond, somewhat horrified at her outburst. I had a few cookies, but keep it down. I don't want your parents to know how fucked up I am right now. Really? They are sitting 2 feet away from you. They know. I look up and for the first time notice both of my in laws just staring at me for what literally felt like an eternity. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was the end of that was the end of that story. There is an edit, but before we get to that, let's read some of the comments. The visual of the OP standing up to have water poured into his glass from a waiter across the restaurant got me. And so did him linking his sweaty face to the spiciness of the bread. Phenomenal read from start to finish. 8.3K upvotes. Another comment here says, you took 6 times the recommended dose of edibles when you had to go do something 30 minutes later. Oh my god, OP, you sweet summer child. What is that? What does sweet summer child mean? 5.4K upvotes on that one. Another comment, can confirm from Denver. This happens often to my out of town friends. I always suggest laying low. Ha, the part WTF Denver had me thinking, yeah, don't fuck around. Those instructions have been tested over and over. Classic. All right, let's read the edits. Edit. Wow, thanks everyone for all the love and for even some of the hate. I think I've officially peaked in life. As for part 2 of the story, there is a reason for it. Technically, 3 delicious reasons why it was cut short. At that point, my wife's singular focus was on getting me out of the restaurant before I either puked all over the table or pissed myself, or an unsightly combination of both. So after a few spastic two-handed waves goodbye to my in-laws, she rushed me to the door like a Secret Service agent evacuating the president. My night after that was a whirlwind of barfing and groveling mixed with a few vain attempts at getting handsy back in the hotel room, but being the absolute awesome sweetie that she is, my wife stuck with me through the whole nightmare, whispering over and over in my ear, whispering over and over again in my ear, please don't die, we have a mortgage. And so while I found this story and I was copying and pasting it into the document, I saw the last line, please don't die, we have a mortgage. And I'm like, I hope this story is not boring because it ends like that. But honestly, that was a whirlwind. Okay, yes, please, you guys, please, like, this is a PSA, especially when it comes to edibles. And this experience is so common. I may or may not have experienced it with my own family when I may or may not have been in Washington, D.C. And for my very first time, allegedly getting Oreos, like actual Oreos that looked like Oreos. That came in an Oreo packet, but like the Oreo packet was kind of altered, which were edibles. And I think I just had like double the amount. Like I think it was also half a cookie or one cookie. I know I didn't like do it too much. I did read the back of the packet if this ever happened. And I was literally with my parents and my brothers and went out to go eat, and I was so paranoid. It like just follow what it says, okay, y'all? All right, my friends, off to the next story. I swiped right on a girl without a picture and we matched. Okay. So after a brief chat, I went to go pick her up. I wasn't expecting much, probably 300 pounds with bad skin. But hey, I was so desperate. It was this or join an incel chat room. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. That just threw me off. Whatever. Okay, it was either this or join an incel chat room. I walked up to the door, and lo and behold, 5'2", baby blue eyes, a strawberry blonde hair, all the right curves in all the right places. I couldn't believe my luck. I asked her what she did for a living. She said she taught Sunday school. Now, I never had me a Christian girl, but I'm open minded, so I took her to dinner. On the way, I lit a joint and asked her if she puffs. Oh, heavens no. What would I tell my Sunday school children? I said, okay, weeds 50-50. Some people do, some people don't. And I took her to the best restaurant I knew. I ordered the steak, she ordered the lobster. I asked for the second most expensive bottle of wine on the menu. When the waitress came to pour, she said she didn't drink. I said, you don't drink? Oh, heavens no. What would I tell my Sunday school children? Dude, I that this accent is just it's from a faraway land, okay? Excellent food, a sparkling conversation, but I'm bummed out. I don't know what to do with a girl like this. So I'm driving her home and past a cheap motel. I figure, what have I got to lose? So I ask, wanna get a room and knock some boots? She says, I thought you'd never ask. I say, really? What are you going to tell your Sunday school children? She says, the same thing I tell them every week. You don't have to drink and do drugs to have a good time. Wait, that's the end of the story? Oh, okay. Uh, she does have a point. You do not have to drink. You do not have to do drugs to have a good time. At the end of the day, I'm guessing he got what he wanted, right? He did get what he wants. Let's read some of the comments here. The top comment with 7,000 likes on this is all the right curves in all the right places. Another top comment on this with like 1,000 likes is poop hole is the loophole. Um, uh, aka as a reply to this says, aka the Missouri Compromise. Y'all, this is a language I don't speak. I Another comment says, "Excuse me, do you weed while you drive? I'm reporting you." Okay, bruh, what? One more comment here, which is a little depressing. When I was young, I was taught you don't need alcohol to have fun. As an adult, I've learned you don't need fun to have alcohol. Oh, well, I hope you find happiness one day. Okay, back to the time I fucked up subreddit. The time I fucked up by genuinely forgetting I had a joint in my pocket and trying to board a plane in Amsterdam and getting caught. Yikes. So this literally just happened 30 minutes ago. I would freely and happily admit if I tried this on purpose as a warning to others, but legitimately fucked up here. Came with a couple of friends for the weekend to Amsterdam for a birthday. It's a great city, pretty to look at, and loads of fun. I'm sure most people know that the Dutch have decriminalized the use of weed, and you can visit coffee shops, coffee shops in quote, and buy and smoke joints. Had a fun party. Had a fun party night last night in town. Went to some coffee shops, got stoned, went to some bars, danced at a club. Had a great night, but only a couple of hours sleep. Sorry, the way that this story is written, the sentences are so short, it's making me sound like a robot. But okay, here we go. In a rush packing this morning, as slept through alarm, I put on last night's jeans on with a joint in plastic tube in pocket, front weird pocket in front of main pocket left over from last night. Got to airport in reasonable time considering slept through alarm. Why are they typing like this? Like, why is it like the sentences, like full sentences, like It says, got to airport in reasonable time considering slept through alarm. Okay, why can't you just say, I got to the airport in reasonable time considering that I slept through the alarm? Like, oh my god. Anyways, a rush towards security when suddenly this hideous sensation of my stomach dropping like in a falling lift. Did I ditch that joint? At this stage, my rucksack is going through the scanner, and the airport staff are guiding me through a body scanner tube that you stand still in with your hands in the air while something revolves around you. Sir, do you have anything in your pockets? Says the customs lady as she steers me towards the body scanner. Holy fucking shit. What to do? I'm still not 100% at this point if it was a joint in my pocket or not. Do I come clean? No way, too late for that. Got to try and style this out as pocket might actually be empty. Go to tube, put hands up, get scanned, no problem. But Schiphol Airport as policy, possibly because of weed, frisks everyone as soon as out of scan tube. I'm asked to put my hands in air again as airport guy starts to frisk intensely all over. I'm sweating bullets and my scrambled mind is trying to remember the hazy details of last night's outing. Did I smoke that joint? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Airport guy's hands pats pocket. I feel object being pressed into hip. Fuck, fuck, fuck. Sir, empty your pockets, please, says airport guy. My partner, in the meantime, has passed security and is watching on. In slow motion, I see the penny drop on his face. I dig into that weird front mini pocket and pull out a small joint in a plastic tube, as sold in coffee shops, of my pocket. Audible gasps come out of other passengers in queue behind me. I feel my face turning almighty red and feel the room getting a bit spinny. I'm dying inside. I say to Pat Down Guy, oh god, I'm really sorry. I forgot that was in the ha ha ha, sure, sure, that's what they all say, laughs airport Pat Down Guy loudly. I'm placed to one side. Customs security is called over. Was left a nerve shredding 30 minutes before he turned up. Just gonna take this moment and opportunity to say the Dutch are fucking fabulous bunch of people. Customs man comes over and takes one look at me, quivering near to tears, and says, don't worry, sir. Don't look so scared. You're the 20th today, and you won't be the last. I'm sorry you have had a government at home that is so restrictive, but unfortunately, I can't let you leave Amsterdam with this joint as you will get in trouble at home. I almost wept with relief. I was made to sign a form to say he'd taken the joint off me. He'd taken joint off me. He doesn't even say that. He'd taken joint off me, and that was it. Dot dot dot. I'm in a bar in Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam having a drink to steady my nerves. To all you Dutch, bless your hearts. You're the best. I'm sorry I was a hot mess and added to the problem of being a dumb fucking tourist. Oh my god. Yeah, that must have been so nerve-wracking. Let's see the top comment here with 14K upvotes. The same guy has probably been in charge of taking joints off tourists for 20 to 30 years. He hasn't paid for weed in the same amount of time. Edit. Thanks for the gold stranger. So somebody gave that comment gold on Reddit. Another comment here with 6.1K upvotes. Haha, I'm Dutch. And when I started reading your post, I thought, oh man, no way they're going to make a big deal of it. I'm sorry you freaked out that much, and even more sorry that your home country is so restrictive that it made you freak out this much in the first place. That's kind of true too. Okay, we do have an edit here. Edit one. Okay, thank you, sir or madam. Edit spelling. My hands are still shaking. Okay. I will forgive you because maybe you were scared while still kind of shaking while typing this. Edit 2. Edit 2. Thanks for the shiny stuff. First awards on a story about my drug use. So yeah, I guess a lot of people love this post on Reddit. I'm from UK for They're still typing like this. I'm from UK for those asking. My flights just landed and I made it through UK customs without discovering any other forgotten drugs. I've just found the docket the nice customs man handed me when he took the weed. It says under what was taken in quotes joints. Edit 3. Scheifel doesn't frisk as matter of routine. Yes, I get it. Thanks for the correction. Well, I am glad he got out of that basically free, no trouble except probably just like freaking out for like 30 minutes or more. Okay, so we've been reading some pretty long stories here. So the next post is from a subreddit for jokes. So let's take a minute for a joke here. All right, the title is Today I was invited by a female janitor to smoke some weed at her apartment, but I politely declined. All right? And the body of the text is one sentence. Y'all ready for this? I can't deal with high maintenance women. I should add like a punchline sound effect right there. Some of the comments under this, I guess it wasn't a joint decision. Another comment, is a female janitor a janitus? A janet maybe? Another comment, it costs you $0 not to post this, but I love it. I loved it too. That's why I'm sharing it here with y'all. Off to the next Reddit story. Today I fucked up after getting high with my fiance. Last night I finally managed to convince my fiance to smoke weed with me. She always been anti 420. Y'all, 420, it's 420 as I'm posting this. She's always been anti 420, but now that we're just a few weeks away from getting married and being all grown up and shit, she's gone full YOLO. Fast forward to me seeing my fiance high for the first time. She became extremely relaxed and talkative. It was cute at first, listening to her go on and on about life and love, but then she kind of got specific. She mentioned how she never expected to be with someone like me. I didn't even have to encourage her to explain because the floodgates were already wide open. All those details spilled out without any fucking filter. This is what I learned from my fiance that I never knew before. Most of her past relationships ended because she was notoriously promiscuous. Sorry, I added that question mark at the end. Most of her relationship ended because she was notoriously promiscuous. As per number one of those relationships came to an end after she cheated on her boyfriend by hooking up with his younger brother while also cheating on the damn brother with his best friend who just so happened to be the same sex. Okay. I'm the first guy she had to do the fake orgasm thing with. Apparently all her exes pushed all the right buttons whereas I don't. My asthma is a turnoff when it comes to sex because she feels like she needs to hold back so that I don't get too excited and die. All her exes had horse sticks. Of course they did. In parentheses, of course they did. I'm her first average. Those were some of the key points. I was too traumatized to register whatever else she said afterwards. I don't think I blinked for the rest of the evening. What? All right, the top comment on this one with 3.8k upvotes. 3.8k. I said that right? 3.8k upvotes. I know this is Reddit and everyone tells you to dump, but I think this time they may be right. LOL. Yes. Dude, what kind of girl like says all that stuff to, I'm assuming a girl says all that stuff to their partner. Like, what? A reply to that comment says, yeah, this was unfortunate, but it wasn't a FU. It wasn't a fuck up. Not smoking that weed would have been. OP dodged a major bullet at the last moment. He'll find the right one eventually. This just wasn't it. I don't know how long they were together, but something tells me not for very long. Maybe this was a lesson he needed to learn. I kind of agree. Like, that was going to come out sooner or later. Like, at least they're not like married all the way yet. Another comment says, I'm very curious how this will turn out. 19K upvotes. Well, we do have an update. We do have an edit here. Oh, it's an update actually. So let's get to it. Update. Even though I knew what my fiance said would haunt me forever, I was willing to bury it in the back of my mind and pretend like last night never even happened. However, my fiance wanted to talk, so we did. It was brutal. She said my mom was right about her being wrong for me. Long story short, all of this shit was building up to her admitting she'd been sending nudes to one of her Horace Dick exes, a fucking Chad. I'm emotionally destroyed. It doesn't feel real yet, so I have trouble accepting it's over, but it is. Guess I'm returning that ring and getting a PS5. Appreciate all the advice. I I don't even think like marijuana does that to somebody. Like, it's not like alcohol. Like, I get it if she was like drunk or like mixing marijuana with something else, but like that's just way too much. Like, I think that was going to come out one way or another, honestly. One comment here says she basically confessed to settling for OP, and that's not a formula for a long lasting marriage. It is a recipe for some Jerry Springer shit down the road. If he's always wanted to be on TV, maybe OP should stay in. Well, the update let us know that it's not gonna work out, which is, I think, actually works out for the best. One more comment here. This reads more like a today I succeeded, honestly. Seems like you apparently don't know her very well, and now you have a chance to figure it all out before you get hitched. A lot of people will know that not knowing about her promiscuous past before now is a crazy red flag, but no one here actually knows either of you. So yeah, go figure it out and don't take advice from randos. That's also good advice, but this person is random, so is it good advice? Anyways, let's move on to the next story. Marijuana is not harmless, and anyone who says otherwise is dangerously misinformed. Okay, y'all, disclaimer, I'm just reading the story. I'm not endorsing any of this. I, as in endorsing or saying like any of this is real fact. These are just people's personal experience with the substance. So let's go ahead and see what this person has to say. I've smoked weed every day for most of my life. I've always believed it to be safer alternative to drinking alcohol. People say it all the time. Nobody has died from smoking too much weed. You can't get addicted to marijuana. I truly believe these things, but I was addicted and I almost didn't make it to my 30th birthday today because of it. The fact that I needed to smoke every day just to feel normal is a testament enough. I wasn't smoking to get high anymore. I was smoking just to start my day. I felt like I couldn't function without it. I couldn't function at all, and I'm only realizing this now. I wasted 15 years of my life being stoned and depressed on the couch. I had no desire to do anything that made me happy. I had no desire to do anything at all because of weed. I settled for mediocrity every day for 15 years. So much of my life wasted. Then I got really sick, vomiting and nausea for 2 weeks. I lost 20 pounds in that time. The doctors told me to stop smoking and I didn't listen. It can't be the weed, I thought. It's harmless. I choked it up to a bad bottle of wine. A couple months later, it happened again, this time vomiting for 5 days. Again, I thought it was just a bad hangover and went to the doctor in hopes of getting an IV to restore my fluids. The doctor had one feel of my chest and I was rushed to the ER with subcutaneous emphysema as a result of cannabis hyper, hyperemesis, hyperemesis syndrome. Essentially, I had so much THC built up in my tissues from years of use, it was starting to seep into my digestive tract, and it was making me sick. The extreme vomiting that resulted caused me to tear my esophagus, which meant air was getting into my chest cavity. The doctor said that my x-ray showed so much air in my chest that another day or two of vomiting could have resulted in my heart exploding. On my nephew's first birthday, a week before my 30th, to think of what I could have done to my friends and family breaks my heart. CHS seems to affect some heavy smokers and not others. Doctors don't seem to know why, but what my doctor did tell me is I was incredibly lucky to have stopped vomiting when I did. He told me that nowadays, with weed being legal and THC concentrations being so high, most of the cases of nausea and vomiting that come into the ER is related to marijuana use. Weed is not a harmless plant. It's still a drug, and like any drug, there are consequences to its use. We need to be more honest about what these dangers are, both physically and mentally, especially with young people. I almost destroyed so many lives because of my habit. I could have ruined my nephew's birthday for everyone forever. I already wasted so many of my best years being stoned. I'm quitting cold turkey. I'm not touching the stuff again. I'm just sorry it took this long. I'm celebrating my 30th birthday today sober, and I've never been more excited about life. If you've been thinking about quitting, take this as a sign. Don't let yourself waste away like I did. Wow, I've honestly never heard of something this extreme happening to somebody because of marijuana. Please do your own research, and please listen to your body if you do take part in activities like this. Some of the top comments on here, this one has 7.8k upvotes. Abusing anything on a daily basis generally isn't harmless. Another comment on here with 2.5k upvotes. I give anesthesia for a living. I can tell you for a fact people who use marijuana habitually require different amounts anesthesia than people who don't. I see it regularly. It makes a big difference. This isn't to say I don't recommend its use. I'm just saying it changes things. Another comment here with 1k upvotes from a physician here. The amount from an alleged physician, this is Reddit. Anyways, physician here. The amount of denial I see in people with cannabis hypermesis is unreal. Like 10 ER visits a month for puking, insisting it has nothing to do with marijuana. No one ever told me marijuana was causing it. On someone I've seen 5+ times for the same thing and told them it was likely marijuana every time. I've even seen someone who literally had a permanent IV port placed for fluids and IV nausea meds because they're absolutely unwilling to stop smoking pot. It's like clockwork. Every time they go back to smoking pot, they end up in the ER within 24 hours. Yeah, how do these people afford so many ER visits? Yes, it has potential benefits. No, you're not. No, you're not a bad person for using pot. But if you're one of the unlucky people who develops cannabis hypermesis, please stop using it. I mean, that makes sense to me. We do have an edit here. Edits. Jesus fucking Christ. I came here as an addict to admit I have a problem with weed. The problem isn't mine, and yet so many of you think you can tell me what I've been through. I don't care if you love weed or if it helped you. It didn't help me. It was ruining my life. I'm glad I got rid of it, and I'm happy to share my story. Call me lazy, call me a liar, say I'm looking for attention. It doesn't matter. I feel better today because I cut weed out of my life. I have no intention for going back. I'm not saying the drug is evil, but what I'm saying is we should be honest with ourselves and recognize that, like any other drug use, weed affects everyone differently. And people have and will continue to get sick from it. To say otherwise is crazy. CHS is real. People have died. It's interesting how many people are experts when it comes to marijuana. Listening to a Joe Rogan podcast doesn't make you an expert. If you're happy being a stoner, be a fucking stoner. In these comments, there are enough stories to prove it's not the miracle drug so many of you are defending it to be. If you're trying to quit, please DM me. I will cheer you on. Well, that was kind of intense. I wish that person all the luck they can have in this life. I don't know how true it is or how extreme the case is, but please, if anything, take care of yourself if you're listening to this. Let's move on to something a little less serious. This is a shorter post here. The title is He Pulled the Uno Reverse Card. So, my bitch ass neighbor called the police because I was smoking on the balcony. The police get here and ask where the weed at. I said, I smoked it all. They said, where'd you buy it? I said, from the neighbor. And now they at his house looking, searching his shit. What? That I I don't know if I agree with that, but that is kind of crazy. I don't know who deserves what. One comment here with 4.2k upvotes. Cop once pulled up on me after I had just finished ripping from an apple outside the neighborhood racquetball courts. I had already thrown my apple when he stopped. When he asked what I was doing there, I told him I was back home during spring break and I used to always come there when my parents were fighting. He he noped out immediately. The last time I ever saw my parents argue was the last time I ever saw my parents argue, I was like 8 years old. Another comment says, then you get charged even more for lying and misleading the police, genius. That's true. If they find out he's lying, he will get in more trouble. Another comment says, this is great if it's true, but the correct answer is always, what weed? Yeah, that is always a correct answer, okay? Let's go on to our next Reddit story. The time I fucked up by not understanding that 3.5 grams can be a fuckload. This actually did happen within the last 24 hours. I'm still lying in bed trying to recover. So weed has been legalized. Yay, Canada! Obviously, the first weekend after legalization, getting fucked up is in order. My girlfriend and I had a free weekend. Kids weren't here. And that won't happen again for a while, which adds further justification. But we live in an apartment building. We don't want to sync everything up, so we decided to do edibles. I figured, hey, let's keep it conservative. Never done this before. Don't want to put too much in there, right? I mean, not that weed can ever be that bad, haha. It's just marijuana. Fucking harmless. So I spend the morning and afternoon decarbing 3.5 grams of MK Ultra and infusing it into half a cup of butter, which was then used to make brownies, which were quite good. We cut this shit into about 15 equal pieces. Now, I am still at this moment struggling with the math, which is pathetic given that we spent 2 hours trying to figure it out last night. But I'm pretty sure that works out to 232 mg per brownie. Apparently, you should start with 10 mg. See how that goes. But on a Friday night, we vaped through about 2 full grams and I didn't feel a damn thing. We started with 2 brownies each. 2 hours later, my girlfriend was fucked up. I was fine, so I had another one. An hour later, she could barely walk. I didn't feel it as bad as her, so I had one more. That's 6 out of 15, not even half the batch between us. Turns out, MJ is a hell of a drug. Jesus motherfucking Christ. We spent about 6 hours completely fucked up. Oh my lord. I had no fucking clue that that level of impairment was possible from weed. My mind is blown. I could not talk properly. Sipping from a cup was this big deal, where my girlfriend and I had to talk me through and encourage me. Rolling over was this totally confusing, repeated realization that there's a whole other half of this room to look at. Wow. We were wrecked. About halfway through, it went from being a laugh fest to being a grim holding on. We just held hands and encouraged each other not to panic. My girlfriend thought she was dying. She was reciting her last will and testament to herself. She wanted to call an ambulance. None of this is hyperbole. We are both exhausted and sore from the twitching. The dry mouth might have been the worst part. It was incredibly intense. We had trouble talking because our mouths were so dry. We threw the rest of the brownies out. The smell of weed is going to make me nauseous for weeks, probably. Oh my god. I I don't even know how the science of that works, but anything that would make me feel like that, I would probably not even ever do it again. The top comment here with 7.7k upvotes, in quotes, I don't fuck with edibles because they ain't got no off button. Apparently Snoop Dogg said that. Another comment here. When you trash talk the brownie, then the brownie trashes you. You. This brownie ain't shit. Brownie. Bet. Watch this. 4.3k upvotes. Oh my gosh, this comment has 25k upvotes. Mom, when am I ever going to use math in real life? Okay, y'all, let's move on to the next Reddit story. The time I fucked up by not inhaling properly when smoking weed for 3 years. I've been smoking weed since I went off to college about 3 years ago. I always thought weed just didn't have that much of an effect on me other than a little tingly feeling that made me slightly less anxious than I normally am. I've had dozens of people tell me, oh, you're not inhaling properly, blah blah. I figured at first I probably wasn't and had each person I smoked with teach me how to inhale properly. Take it into your lungs or whatever, okay? But every time I breathe in, I'm taking air into my lungs, right? So why are we acting like this is something that's hard to do? Yeah, I'm a fucking idiot. So I'm watching an episode of Skins UK yesterday, and one of the characters, Effie, teaches someone how to smoke. Dude, I used to, side note, I used to love Skins. I don't even remember what happened in that show, but I remember in 2010, 2011, 2012, it was so freaking popular, and I remember just wanting more of that series. It went something like pull into your mouth, then breathe deeper and pull it into your lungs. Something just clicked inside my dense little fucking head, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. So today I'm supposed to be having a boy over and I'm feeling a bit nervous, so I decide to take a couple of hits of my oil pen that I've been hitting for months. It is an indica cart with a high ass THC concentrate, but at this point I'm under the impression that I've built up tolerance to it. So as I hit it, I try the Effie technique, the first explanation that actually made sense to my dumb ass. And I coughed so hard that I almost threw up. I was like, oh shit, this works. And so I proceeded to hit it 3 more times like that. Biggest fucking inhales. And I felt that shit in my lungs. FML. The next thing I know, I wake up in my bed. I think I'm dreaming. I close my eyes and open them again, but I'm still dreaming. I do this about 8 more times and I realize, holy shit, I'm not dreaming. I'm tripping hard. I literally lost an hour in which I remember nothing. And when I start remembering things, nothing felt real. Every time I thought it was over, I'd reopen my eyes and lose my shit again. At one point, I was sniffing essential oils to try to bring myself back. And at another, I destroyed my room looking for something I thought would save me. And I don't even remember what. I was convinced I had to switch frequencies and was now on the wrong frequency of existence and couldn't get back to the right frequency. It took me 3 fucking hours to come back to myself and realize I wasn't going to die. During this time, I called my brother, his friend, and my mom, who now think I'm losing it. Also, the guy that was supposed to come over thinks I'm ghosting him now, and I'm never smoking weed again. That was the end of that post. Okay, the top comment. I vote you send this testimonial to him as an explanation. 9.5k upvotes. That's true. That's true. Another comment here that has 4.2k upvotes. Every single person that tells me, oh, I'm immune to weed, I instantly think, yeah, no, you definitely probably don't inhale correctly. I believe this 100% because I was I was that person. Another comment here. LOL, this is fantastic. I hope dude understands and shit works out. But man, that's pretty funny. Oh, another comment here. Once upon a time, my dad was supposed to go on a first date with this chick who smokes a lot of weed and assumed the edible she ate just before he was supposed to pick her up would be fine, but it ended up being way stronger than she was used to. So instead of going on their date, my dad sat with her in the bathroom for 2 hours while she puked and cried. Anyway, they're married now. Oh, what a cute meet cute. Another similar comment here. I vote you tell the dude exactly what happened. With the little XD little face, including the nervous part. It's endearing. Oh. Okay, let's go on to the next Reddit story here. I told y'all I have 12 posts here for you guys. I am enjoying this. The time I fucked up by telling my boss I smoke weed. This happened over the weekend, and I still think I may hear about this in some way. So last Friday, some of us teachers, oh my god, teachers. Some of us teachers were sent a text from our principal to sign some papers in our email. She likes to make sure everyone responds, so she'll message people individually for a while. I have a Saturday job as well, so I don't check it until I get home. Well, on my way home, I decided to stop by my dealer and bought some OG cookies. They smelled so good that I texted my fiancé to tell her what I got. Well, when I get home, I asked her if she was ready to try the stuff I got. She was confused as to what I was talking about because she was asking for the name of it and how it smells. I told her that I texted the info before I got home. I checked my phone to see if I sent at all, but I discovered that I opened up the wrong text. I had told my principal/boss that I had bought some stinky bud and to get our pipe and grinder ready. She replied back saying, "No thanks, but have a good weekend," and she left a winky face emoji. I've since talked to her only about work things. Nothing about this weekend had come up, but I'm still kind of freaking out. Yeah, I would be freaking out. What does a winky face emoji mean? Does she smoke weed too? Does she participate in consuming marijuana? Or is this person gonna get fired? Top comment here with 19.k upvotes. Honestly, with her reply and not bringing it up again, I think you're in the clear. She doesn't seem to care, and I wouldn't be surprised if she partakes herself. Yeah, that was also my assumption. Another comment here, you're good. The text back was for your peace of mind, so you wouldn't be freaking out about it because you know she saw it. Acknowledge she understood the message and didn't say anything else about it. Consider that you might be slightly paranoid and are more likely to jump to conclusions. So 6.5k upvotes. Another comment here, winky face equals you're in the clear. After that shit teachers and principals put up with, y'all deserve it. I guess that's true too, but just working with kids and kind of admitting that is kind of scary to me. Wow, another comment here that's kind of too real, honestly. The crazy thing here isn't that you, a teacher, smoke pot. It's that you, a teacher, have to work a weekend job. Shit's fucked up, man. That's kind of true and sad. Okay, y'all, there's this next story, and I thought I wanted to read it, but I kind of skimmed over it, and it is truly really not safe for work at all. It's even marked not safe for work here. It was blurred when I opened the link, and I will share the link with you. So please go read it for yourself. The title is The Time I Fucked Up by Leaving the Bedroom Door Open. And this person, it starts off with saying this just happened. I'll read the first paragraph to you, okay? But after that, go read the rest for yourself. To begin, I recently graduated from college and my lease ended. I plan to move I planned on moving in with my girlfriend, but due to COVID, she moved out of her parents' place. She moved out of her place and into her mom's. Therefore, I have temporarily moved into her mom's as well until I find a job. So last night we finished unpacking, and after her family fell asleep, we decided to have sex. That's all I'm going to read here. There has something to do with like a cat and just other things. Like, please go check it out for yourself. Until then, let's move on to our last and final Reddit story. Y'all, if you're at this point in the video, in listening to the podcast, I just want to say thank you so much. And the nicest thing you could do that takes a second and that is free is hit subscribe. Please check out my channel. Please check out my YouTube channel. Check out this podcast on whatever podcast platform you love using. And thank you so much. Let's move on to our last story here. Am I the asshole for throwing out my mom after she threw out my weed? A throwaway in case someone I know sees this. Don't want them to know my main Reddit account. So I am a 30-year-old man. I am single and live alone in a house that I own. A few months ago, you know what happened and my mom lost her job. So I decided to let her stay with me. I'm assuming that this was posted around like COVID and stuff when people were losing their jobs. I have a medical marijuana card and smoke every day. I knew my mom disliked weed, so I warned her before she moved in that I would be smoking weed daily and would not stop for her. She agreed and only asked that I smoke outside, which I thought was a relatively reasonable request. Weed has a strong smell and many people don't like it. At first, this worked out fine at first, but she started making remarks about how I should quit, etc. I mostly just ignored them, brushed them off. Then it evolved into her demanding that I quit. As if I were still a child she could issue orders to. I refused and told her that she can move out if she doesn't like it. She started crying and saying that I don't love her, I have a problem, etc. The next day, I came home from work to find her waiting for me. She explained that she had flushed my weed, a little less than an ounce, for my own good, and then demanded that I go get treatment. Well, predictably, I was furious, and not even really about not having the weed anymore. It is pretty cheap. I usually buy ounces for 125, and I can easily get more. Yeah, that's totally chill. Just throw 125 dollars down the drain. Yeah, that's chill. And I can easily get more. It was about her total lack of respect for me. I'm an adult, own my own house, have a good job, and have approval from the state to legally purchase and possess marijuana. So someone I'm doing a huge favor for demanding that I stop is throwing out my stuff when I refuse is extremely outrageous to me. No matter if she pushed me out of her vagina 30 years ago. Anyway, we argued about this for a while and it became clear to me that she was not sorry at all and that she would probably do it again. So I told her she can't live with me anymore. I gave her a month, but she had already packed all her stuff, all her shit, and drove to my brother's house a couple hours away. She obviously thinks I'm a huge asshole. So does my brother, but I think that's mostly because she is his problem now. Wow. In my opinion, I mean, I come from a culture where you respect your parents to the highest degree. So he wasn't even bothered about like the money amount or the amount of weed that was thrown away. He just wanted to be respected by his parents. Like, in my personal opinion, I would never do that to my mom. If anything, I would respect her and lie to her and just keep doing it and try to take care of my mom. But Reddit here has deemed this person not the asshole. I don't think he's an asshole either, but I think I would handle the situation just a little bit differently, especially since it's literally my mom. If it was like my sister or my aunt or somebody else, like I probably would treat them like this. But anyways, let's read some of the comments here. This comment has 25,000 upvotes. Not the asshole. NTA. It wouldn't even matter if you smoked purely recreationally. You're an adult, you have your own home and your own life. Her approval isn't necessary. It sounds like she might have been trying to overparent you because moving in with you upset the power dynamic you're used to. Good job setting the boundary and enforcing it. Another comment here, NTA, your house, your rules. If she can't follow the rules, she gotta go. Good for you setting the boundaries. Really, guys? Okay. Another comment here. I'm very conflicted here. I don't think you're the butt, but at the same time, that's your mother. You need to find a way to reach out to her and let her know you still love her, but that you're growing up in a new era that has different emotions about marijuana. Marijuana is now classified as a medication for several things, and even if at times you may use it recreationally, in today's world, it is still medicine. I'd compare it to you throwing out pain medications after surgery or anxiety pills to her and explain that is what you did. You two can agree to disagree, but that discussion needs to be done to salvage your relationship. I hope things turn out well in the end, but you also should remember that your mother also grew up in a different era in the war on drugs and dare. To her, she tried to accept it, but then thought you had a problem due to the way she was taught. Perhaps sitting down and trying to educate her again and maybe letting her try an oil with you could change things drastically. Yeah, I'm pretty much on that middle ground as well. I am all about spreading love, and that was the last story. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Sohaima Reads Reddit Stories. It was very interesting, very fun. At the end of the day, I hope you have a nice 420 and don't take things here too seriously. Listen to your body, have good vibes around you. You're around people who bring you good vibes, and just enjoy life and be high on life. And don't forget to subscribe. And this was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you in my other videos. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.